What is good, my people? We are live back again on the forecast. And yeah, I appreciate all y'all for coming on here. Shout out to you, Erica Howard. I appreciate it. Much love to all of y'all. Um, I ain't really got no specific topic or nothing tonight. Y'all can call in and talk about whatever, but I definitely just wanted to call in and holler at the people or whatever. So make sure y'all call in the number right there on the screen, 804-601-4015. Now, there is a lot of stuff that we can always address when it comes to the issues that we're in, especially in the societies that we're in. And my brother Bakari, I think is supposed to come in a minute, but I'll just get right to it though. But there's certain issues in our society, how we don't have enough faith in ourselves to actually do the things that we need to do to get up out of this system, to get up out of this situation, right? And really, we can talk about the solutions all day long, but the solutions is easy. We already know the solutions. It's just the fact of whether we're going to do it or not. How badly do you want to be free or not, right? Are you willing to get a shot to go up in a public event, or are you willing to stand on your own, right? Are you willing to not fight somebody else to get into their racist restaurant where they could be spitting into your food, or would you rather save that money or invest it into your own place? But even now, here on YouTube, right, they're going to show certain people, give certain people the the vision, right? Give them the platform, let certain people shine, because they're going to want to control what you see, what you hear, right? Because they understand one of the most important parts of warfare is straight psychological warfare. They need you to hate who you are in order to use you for everything that they need you for. The trick is to convince you that nobody needs you, but really the whole world needs you. And my brother Bakari sent me a video. I don't know if he's gonna talk about it on his channel or not. I think he's gonna talk about it on his channel, about a young sister on TikTok who was a dark skinned sister. She got picked on because she was dark skinned, right? And then you hear the stories about how other black people pick on black people for dark skin. But you really looking at the society through the eyes of a psychopath, somebody who gets off on raping, pillaging, murdering, and you find and look at yourself as if you are some kind of monster, as if you are ugly, as if you are the one with all of the problems, because you don't fit in with that, because you don't even think that you're healthy. And you can see your own people picking on you. You look the same as them. People want to escape from the color that they are, right? They want to bleach their skin. They want to change their appearance, all because of a low self-esteem. But they need you to be in that vibration. They need you to be in that mindset so that they can control you and exploit you. It is not your job to save anybody else. Like the poor white people that come over here looking for us to save them, or say, what about our problems? I don't care about your problems. Your problems are not my problems. We got enough issues on our own. But see, as long as we try to fit in with them, because we could easily right now create our own businesses. Every one of us in here can come up with the same ideas about creating our own businesses, and we've been talking about it for hundreds of years. But it's that mentality for us to want to be on somebody else's website to link up, all right, about somebody else controlling, having the power. Us believing that ultimately the white man's ice is colder. But you see, like on platforms like TikTok, you have the black users on strike because Europeans are taking their stuff and getting rich off of it. But that sounds familiar. And see, when they stop doing it, then they get exposed. You see what it is. And now, when it's the other way around, they magically understand what stealing is. Because before, oh no, it's just something that happens. But you take one of their stuff, they understand what stealing is. See, we have to stop having the mindset of we have to convince them and show them that we are human, and start having the mindset of if somebody crosses my boundaries, they're going to pay for it. And I'm going to show you what it's like to cross my boundaries because I don't have fear in my heart. And it don't have nothing to do with hatred because how could you function in a society where you're trained to hate who you are? My brother Bakari, what's going on, my brother?
What's going on, forecast?
Not much, my brother. You was I don't know if you was listening just now.
Yeah, I've been listening. I was looking at the name, uh, inferiority complex.
Hmm.
That is something that we have truly developed. You know, we talked about this yesterday. I think it was yesterday, a day before, and I said, because we're gonna do a show. I'm gonna do mine tomorrow. You know, the winning and losing starts in the mind. And if you have an inferiority complex, you'll never you never see yourself winning. You're always gonna see yourself being a loser, right? You're gonna. You mentioned the black lady who black people was making fun of her, calling her derogatory names because of her dark skin, but she's absolutely beautiful. Uh, but you're right. We're in a society where we have allowed someone else to tell us that they are the gold standard. We're in a society where we want to be like people who have historically hated us, historically don't want to deal with you, didn't want to integrate. So we're in a society where we don't think we're worth nothing unless we have validation from some people call them, the colonizers. But it's not just even the so-called colonizers anymore or the enslavers. We need validation from everyone. We want to be the Arab, so we Asiatic. We have to be the East Indian. We need validation, so we would say we are Native American. You know, we need validation from the Orientals. But when it comes to us with the inferiority complex that you mentioned, you see the disrespect and the vitriol that we speak to one another. We don't speak with one another with respect. We don't have that same respect for one another because, and it's sad to say, in this society, we have accepted the fact that we're nothing. We have accepted the fact that we can't do anything without other people to the point where we will follow a man or whatever the hell he is that teaches black men and white women that's who had it bad during slavery. So therefore, it was natural for the black man and the white woman to come together because those two had it bad during slavery. We will follow other people who will say it's been proven we can't do anything for ourselves. We need them to do it for us. We will forget our ancestors and just say we have never been nothing but a slave here. And this is where our history start as being slaves and being at the bottom of someone's feet, or laying on the ground with their knee on our neck. That's what this inferiority complex have done to us. And when I'm saying it's society, it's not just here. I'm talking about the world society, the way we are treated and the way we treat one another. That's that inferiority complex that you're speaking of. Everyone else is superior, and we feel inferior. And when I'm saying we, of course, it's not all, but you understand what I mean. But if we can't ever get past that inferiority complex, if we can't ever get past complaining about what someone do to us and how long they've been doing it, we would never get to the point where we can build anything for ourselves, because we only talk about and we only show ourselves in a weakened position. We show ourselves being dominated. We never show ourselves with power. We show ourselves asking for equality, but we never show ourselves saying the hell with equality. We want power. We want power. We want power. And I'll yield the mic for now.
Hey, brother Bukari, hey, talk for like another minute or two, real quick.
Oh, okay. But when we look, like I'm gonna give you an example. I like track, so I wanted to see the people run on track. Look at the Jamaican team, the Great Britain team. Anything that we put our mind to that we know that we are good at, we can dominate. Look at basketball. Look at football. We can be the best. But it's in our mind that someone is superior to us. So, with them having a superiority complex, with everyone else having a superiority complex to black people, and black people having an inferiority complex to everyone else, we can't do the things that we know we need to do, the things that no one else is going to do it for us. We've been asking this country for a very long time. This country have not done it. When is it going to get to the point where we stop complaining and start doing? So I'm gonna give you an example with the new voter laws they made. Some people say that law is aimed directly at black people. Can't vote on Sunday no more. The soul to the pole movement. You can't use the church bus no more. You can't give water and food within 150 feet to the pole. So on and so forth. So I said, you know what? You can't use the church bus. This is in a meeting. You can't use the church bus. Let's volunteer. Let's have some people take time off work. And if voting is not even that important to me anymore, but to my people, that voting is important too. I said I won't work today. I won't do nothing on that day. Who need a ride to the poll? But instead of accepting the ride and saying we can give our people cold water and juice while we're in the car, we can give our people sandwiches or whatever, or they can bring them if we don't want to give them. If they don't want to take them and they want to make their own, they can bring them. So if they're in that line, they have what they need. But instead of accepting the plan that they put these obstacles in our way, so instead of accepting the plan to jump the hurdles, go around the hurdles, or just run through the hurdles, we complain about the hurdle being in the way. That's an inferiority complex. My mind, that's part of the inferiority complex. Since they did it, we can't do nothing about it but complain. I think we need more doers than complainers. And I don't mean to offend people when I tell them, but I am not part of the beg and complain campaign. We need more doers. We have enough people who want to complain. Let them bring the light to what's going on. But while they're bringing the light to what's going on, don't turn down the people like me who say they're willing to help to make sure what we say is important to us as a people get done.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike.
Yeah, I appreciate that, my brother. My bad. But yeah, I was listening to everything you said, and yeah, you spot on. And the thing is, like you said, we are at a point where we think that we begin at slavery. If you ask most black people, now a lot would say they would, but if you ask most black people who their great great grandfather was, they couldn't tell you. And none of this stuff is by accident. And stop. We have to stop thinking that stuff is all by circumstances. None of this stuff is a coincidence. It's all set up to be designed this way. It's all set up for you to be workers, for you to be slaves. And we should be angry that we are working for somebody else to make them more than we actually get off of their job. And that should be enough for you to want to stand up. It shouldn't take somebody kicking in your door, violating your rights. It should be somebody enslaving you, enslaving your children, sending your kids to schools to learn about psychopaths and nothing about the truth. Because, like you said, you like to say we started in slavery, but from the very first time they came over here or anywhere near us, they got they were met with force. We didn't just accept bondage. I don't know if y'all heard like about the wars in Panama in like the 1500s, right? What his brother, the king, I don't want to say his name wrong. I think it's like King Bayou or something like that. But they refused to be enslaved. And this dude, he tried to talk to the Spanish, right? Because this was the first time they were seeing them, first time they really got over here. And he tried to talk to the Spanish, but they weren't listening. So this dude started raiding all of the slave markets, right? Freeing all of the people. And he was hitting the Spanish, like tearing them up. And to the point where the Spanish governor had to offer this man a peace treaty. And I'm gonna ask any of y'all right now because y'all know the answer to it. Do you think they lived by that peace treaty? It was nothing but a trap to set that brother up. See, that's what they have to use. We are scared of them and their guns and their weapons, but it's never been their weapons that has gotten you. It has been the deception. It is them keeping chains on your mind, not on your body. Because if it was just on your body, you can break through the chains. But if they got the chains on your mind, then it don't matter what your body do. See, we don't have that mindset, and we don't realize about our own history. Like you were saying, it was like another settlement, um, the first black settlement in America, and the people was, fighting back. Right, it was Gaspar Yanga. He led the first successful one in Mexico. And he told them, you know, don't only fight them in self-defense. Don't kill them if you don't have to, and if you can, just disarm them, because that's the kind of nature that you got. But them, they didn't realize they was dealing with psychopaths that's not going to take L's, and they'll drop a bomb and kill all the women, children, babies, whatever. They wasn't realizing that. So that was in the 1500s. It's 2021. Why are we still having a conversation about they whether they would drop bombs on our women, children, babies, or whatever? And if you dare say, please don't hurt my kid, you got to be apologetic about it. That's a mindset that you have to change within yourself. You know what I'm saying? And that's why they don't want you to know your history, because when you learn your history, then you aren't going to put up with the same BS, right? Yeah.
You're right,
Yeah.
and
You go ahead, brother.
I'm glad you mentioned Gospel Younger. Actually, he's gonna be the thumbnail for when I set up my show, where it show it starts all in your mind. Cause that brother had to think we can win. You understand what I'm saying? It
Right.
had to be in his mind we can win. And when they say we never did nothing, right? or we never fought, right? From the time we got off boats here, Africans didn't want to be slaves. They would fight and run away. But where were they going to run to? They were trying to get back to Africa. It's a PBS special. I'll get the name of it forecast, and I'll send you the PBS special, because you know these people kept records of everything. We never just laid there, right? But we didn't know where to go. If you're talking about history and seeing things, it was a place in Mississippi. It was a book. It was called New Africa, Mississippi. And these people created them a free settlement. They were slaves that fought their way to freedom. New Africa, Mississippi, which now is a town called Clarksdale, Mississippi. And the name of the road is New Africa Road. And I learned, when you see names like this, look up the history of those streets. And those streets have history. So that's how I found about this. But these people fought their way to freedom in Mississippi and lived free forever, because they defeated and killed slave owners, overseers, and straw balls, whoever came in there. They killed the Indians, the native Indians who came into their settlement and tried to catch them, because they were slave catchers as well. And if you look at an old Union map, you could find on some of the old Union maps New Africa, Mississippi, but they didn't go in the area where they had built the free society, because they knew of how dangerous it was. And these are some of the things that we need to know, because we talk about all the time what they have done. We show it all the time what they have done. Still in 2021, you can get on YouTube now and see somebody with a knee on their neck, somebody being beat up by their slave catchers, which is the police, the overseer, the straw balls. But I ask again, how long are we going to ask them to stop? Isn't it time for us to come up with a plan to make it stop? How many years, how many hundreds of years do they have to show you they have no intentions on stopping? And I'm going to mention this book again. And I mention it every time we talk. Read the book, We Will Shoot Back. Martin Luther King had his fight. His fight was the nonviolent. But when you read that fight, and when Martin Luther King first started, he knew his militias was with him. He didn't have carry many weapons on him, but he knew the militias was with him, and he would not tell them to go home. And you go look and see, they did not start attacking Dr. King until Dr. King told the militias, don't come back. There's things that we can do. We have to stop looking for other people's validation. Even Rosa Parks, who wouldn't move off the bus, but one of the biggest bus companies in the South. Oh my God, I'm gonna get the name of it before this show's over. Uh, was in North Carolina. We could have used that bus. Now they probably had buses in Alabama for black people, but yet we felt sitting on the front of their bus was better. And still to this day, and they're in a different situation. Our people then is in a different situation than now. Now they have passed some of that stuff on for us seeking validation. They did pass some. They passed some of it on. They passed it on, passed it down, along with the trauma, mental anguish, and then they go along with the things that we see. But if we don't stop it, if we don't come up with a plan and say, you know what, we're going to be race first, and don't let nobody shame you for being race first, because they would try to shame you for saying you're race first. It's okay for everyone else to be race first, but it's not okay for us to be race first. And they like to ask, do that mean you hate white people? And you have never mentioned white people in your whole of being race first or no other race. You being race first, don't let nobody shame you and tell you you are hating other people because you love yourself more than you love them. It's natural. Everybody does it. Everybody do it. Every group of people do it. But when we want to do it, we're shamed. You just a racist. And then we shame one another for being race first. Once we change our mind and our way of thinking, our condition will change. That's why I say winning and losing start in the mind. It starts with your brain. If we want our condition to change, we have to change our condition. And in order to change our condition, we have to change our way of thinking. Once we change the way of thinking, we're going to change the way we do things. We're going to change the way we deal with one another. We're going to do all of that. Change the way we do business with one another. Once we change, if you want the conditions to change, you have to change the way we think. And it's up for us to do it. Stop making other people the gold standard. Stop saying, well, if white people got this, I want this. I don't want nothing because they have it. I don't want business in to control my communities because Asians, Arab, East Indian, Hispanics have it, or because white people have it. I want all that because we are supposed to have all of that. Not because another group of people have it, but because we are supposed to be in charge and in control of ourselves. That's why we should want it. Not because someone else have it. I'm not in competition. I take that back. We are in competition with them because it's a race for power. I don't want power because they got power. We want power because we should have the power to govern ourselves, the power to control our communities, the power to control our businesses, the power and the know-how to deal with one another. And once we start doing that and we have to deal with other people, then you deal with other people throughout respect. And those people would deal, they don't have to like you. We have to stop worrying about if they like us. We don't want to be liked. We want to be respected. Respect go further than like or love. You don't want to be liked. You want to be respected. And once we change our thinking, our conditions gonna change. That respect will change. I get it, Mike.
Man, yeah, you spot on, my brother. And we all know what they do. We all know the answers, but we start to start talking about why we let them do what they do, because we don't really want to address that, and don't really want to say or have the courage to say that is the fear in our hearts talking for us. Because if you let somebody violate your boundaries, especially when it comes to your children, then that is a fear mindset, and that's something that you really have to address, but you can't get over it if you're afraid to even say that. So this is something that you have to go back and realize, like, how bad do I really want to be free, right? Am I really okay with somebody poisoning my child's mind, right? Not to mention poisoning my body, you know, poisoning everything, your mind, body, everything psychological is a psychological warfare that you don't even realize that you are in. And that's why you have to start, educating yourself on your history and who you are. Don't let somebody who has an inferiority complex themselves, right, and it's really a superiority complex, tell you that something is wrong with you when they have to imitate everything you do, right? We are, too many of us are ashamed of our skin color, right? We feel sad, we feel hurt by our skin color, but they're over there putting on blackface to look like you and trying to imitate you, right? We think that we can't grow, or growing dreads out of our heads is somehow wrong or makes us a criminal. We look at each other funny style. But who is telling you all of these things? Who's putting these concepts into your head, right? Because there was a conversation before about race being the concept or a construct. Well, racism, white supremacy is a construct itself, and the whole construct is to make you doubt yourself, to make you think that you need somebody who really needs you, right? It's nothing but games, but we have to stop putting things on a spooky level, psyching ourselves out, making these goalposts so far to reach that we feel like we'll never do it, right? It's all one step at a time, but all of that starts with not putting up with what you feel like is violating your boundaries. Somebody telling you what is good for you, what is bad for you, because that's the same people giving you a diet that have you dead at 40, 50 years old. That's the same people who's economically starving you. So why are you letting them tell you what pretty is, what beautiful is, right? They had to come kidnap you because they can't even go to a beach on a nice day and put without putting some on their skin. Let's just be honest, right? That's the truth, right? There's no way they could have built this nation off what it took, but somehow they convinced you that the hair that grows out of your head is somehow wrong, and they'll pass laws to say that is wrong, right? They'll pass things to say you can't get hired if you don't have this sort of standard, right? Because we don't talk about the involuntary servitude part of the 13th Amendment. We talk about as a, except if you commit a crime, then you could be a slave. But America specifically said, and why would they specifically say involuntary servitude? Right? So that means voluntary servitude is completely legal. Now, let me just put you in a situation where you have to bow down to me at every single way, or either commit a crime by what I define as a crime. And then either way, you're stuck. Either way, you're a slave to me. Either way, you're a slave to this corporation. And you got more loyalty to a corporation than you do to yourself. But that's out of fear. That's why you can't say that you do, but you really do. That's the mindset that you have. You know, yeah, my brother, you can go ahead, my brother Bakari.
Yeah, I've even heard black people. I won't give anyone. I won't have nobody if I see a name like Shaquita. Like, huh? Have anybody ever thought about that these people know that they're not European, know that they're not British, so they don't want to give their kids British names? We always look for a reason to make fun of us without even wondering why our people do the things that we do in some cases. Like with La Keisha. Look this up if y'all. The La is French, of course. And look up the etymology of Keisha. Hmm. Guess what? People will learn. Wow. Black people didn't even know that we was giving our kids African names because that was in us. Look it up. But we don't have a problem if it's a black girl named Sylvia, which is a Russian name. So what's wrong with giving your child if you choose an African name? But Sylvia is okay. Tammy is okay. Brittany is okay. Any of these names, Dominique is okay. All of those names are okay. But when it comes to you being who you are, people have a problem with it for us being who we are. So you know what? It's time for them to let them have a problem with it. Stop trying to make people be happy with you. If we are happy with who we are and we know what we are, right? Don't worry about nobody else. Because the one thing I learned, I ran several businesses in the last 17, 18 years of my life, right? There's one thing I learned. I've done business with people that don't like me because of my skin. I know they didn't, and I didn't like them. But out of respect, my work was good. They had respect for my work, so they ain't mind giving me that check. And I had respect for their money, so I didn't mind getting it. You understand what I'm saying? So don't worry about if people like you or not. We're not here to be liked. Stop looking outside of us to be liked. Look at ourselves to be respected and loved. Four pillars: respect, love, provide, and protect. Stop looking outside of ourselves for diversity. Stop letting people shame you saying you need diversity. What race or group, what race of people on earth is more diverse than Africa from the continent and in the diaspora? If we just have one another, we're the most diverse people in the world. The most diverse people in the world. Look at all the different languages on the continent. Just Black Africa. Look at all those different languages. Look at our brothers and sisters here in Jamaica, Haiti. Look at us here in the United States. Look at our brothers and sisters in South America. But we look outside of ourselves to look to everybody else. We want diversity. We want to be liked. We want to be respected by everybody else. Well, we really don't even care. We're respected by everybody else. We want other people to like us. We want to be in a mix. We beg to be under other people. But then you go to anybody, think about it, inferiority complex. Anybody can come to our neighborhood, open up a store. Let's go to Chinatown and open up a business and see how many Chinese come to us. Come to where I live. Let's go 5 miles from my house. Let's go to what they call in Mexico and see how many Hispanics come to our business. Let's go and see how much we can go 40 miles from me, a place called Buford Highway, one end owned by the Orientals, the other end owned by the Hispanics. Let's just go look and see how many of them going to come to our business if we open up a business on their block. See if they're going to have a problem with us opening a business on their block. But we think we're doing something because Habib opened up a store on our block and we give him our money, or we give it to Hun Jin Yun, or we give it to who the Rajishis. It doesn't make a difference. It should be circulating back with us. Of course, we live in a society where you're gonna have to do business with other people, but the more of our majority of our money should be circulating back with us, just like everybody else. Their money circulates back with them. I showed my homeboy how to do some pressure washing. And he went to pressure wash this store to some of them Rajishis. I told him, don't give the man no discount. But he was like, man, he said he gonna give me the contract on all his stores. I said, man, did he give you a contract? He was like, no. I said, don't give him a discount. I said, man, I've been doing this for years. You just started. I'm throwing you a bone. Take my word for it. No, no, man, he out of talking. He sound trustworthy. Okay. He gave him a discount. Did that one store and gave that contract to clean all his stores to an Indian pressure washing company. The Indian did not know how to come out there and clean it and remove the gum and do everything that needed to be done. So he paid you to set it up on a discount, and he gave that dude the contracts to come out there and just do the easy work. Don't get him no discount. We have to start doing better. Trust me when I tell you this. And once again, it's going to be back to our mind. Once we change our mind, our conditions change. It's just that simple. We change our mind, our conditions change. And it's just that simple. Our winning start in our mind. Do we want to be equal or do we want power? Think about it. We're on a team. We're on a team. We're going to have to play injured. We're going to have to be willing to run through that wall. We're way behind, but it's not 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. We're way behind, but we can come back. We can come back. But it's up for us to do it. You don't just sit there and say we can't win. Because as long as you don't think you can win, you'll never win. I hear the mic.
Yeah, that's the truth. You know, if you don't think you can win, you'll never win. And it's like that movie. I don't know if y'all ever seen. I think it's movie 42 or 43 or whatever that movie was. When at the end, you know, the black basketball team, they was playing the all white basketball team, and they was in there saying, you know, we can't win. We used to playing black people. You know, now we got to play these white boys and stuff. You know, Terrence Howard was like, no, this is basketball, right? You're black, they are white. You know, when but they were scared. But then when they went out and balled, they beat them 100-2, right? See, you are at a point right now where you can create whatever you want. It ain't no we are losing because right now we can stop everything, right? And then you're automatically winning. You don't understand who you are, the power that you have. And Erica Howard said in the chat, I'm tired of them trying to get me to get that jab, and they're literally trying to force something on you, right? That they know that somebody is linked with crimes that should be charged with crimes against humanity. And see, they are calling you the savages, right? But we gotta start defining what a savage means to Europeans, right? For them, a savage means somebody who doesn't know or doesn't bow down to European laws, religion, deities, or whatever, right? To them, that's what a savage is. And the only way to be civilized is to be Europeanized in their eyes, right? That's why it doesn't matter where you come from, where you are, what you say you have. They don't see you as humans because, in order to be able to sleep at night after all the things that they did to you, they have to come up with some kind of lie or excuse or feel like they, you know, are not doing this to a person, right? And that's when they start coming out with all of these doctrines of discoveries, saying the land that they quote unquote discover belongs to you, and the people on that land are savages, right? And see, all of it is about wealth. They come from an independent mindset. See, now we think we are so individualistic as a group and all of this stuff, but what we are doing, right, is, and this is what happens in relationship. You know, somebody who's like a psychopath, they are going to take their negative qualities and project them onto you and try to imitate your positive qualities as if they are your own, right? They are sucking your energy and using it, right? And that's why they have to call you a savage so that they can justify it, so that they can feel like they are right behind it. You see, and that's why they're going to have you thinking we are on this individualistic mindset. But in reality, in the grand scheme of things, in the grand scheme of life and history, and how far we go back just in America, this whole individual mindset is not that long ago, right? This whole illusion of inclusion is really only like 50 or 60 years ago. And that's just compared to American history, let alone history, period, right? So once you get out of that illusion of inclusion mindset and understand that that was a counter move from your enemy, because in my theory, I would say integration was actually a counter move by them instead of something that we fought for, right? That was something that they flipped. And we have this nature of always wanting to be accepted from day one. We've accepted them. We've accepted, everything they said, welcome them with open arms. But they come from this place of lack, of from cold, dark environments, from places where you have to come up with expressions like "don't throw the baby out with the bathwater," and you come from a place of abundance where you share, where you have open communities, right? Where you don't just leave somebody stranded. And now we're trying to assimilate into that individualistic scarcity mindset society, and we think and we keep wondering why we are so off. But it really, at the end of the day, you just have to start having faith in yourself and in the people around you in your community to be able to go to those stores in your community. And you don't have to be gangster, but you can be. Say you got 48 hours to leave out of here or you shut down, right? You can say, we're not letting somebody come into the store. We're not letting no customers come in. Nobody in this neighborhood is buying nothing. They're going to have to shut down. or you can handle it however you want to. But the point is to handle it, and don't ever let somebody else tell you how you decide to handle your business outside of your family is wrong, because these are the same people who use bloodshed, terror, murder, rape, and now that they have everything in their favor, now let's be fair. Now let's start from where we are. No, you have to adapt, if anything, that American mindset of self-defense, of being able to fight back, you know. And well, yeah, I'll let you go ahead, my brother.
You know, when you mention them talking about they conquering things, right? That's the crazy thing. People will say they didn't conquer, or we say they didn't, not conquer, discover, let's say America, right? And I'll say they did. Not that they really did, because people was already living there. In their mind, they discovered America. When you mention the doctrine of discovery, when you go there, like you said, even if people is living there, you plant your flag, convert them to your religion. And if they don't take your religion and or whatever, or become civilized, like you said, you do what you have to do to make them, beat them, and kill them until they accept it. And we must understand the type of people we're dealing with. And now, in order to get to those people, you have to deal with the buffer class of people that they have brought here to put in between. All those other people I mentioned, Arabs, Orientals, East Indian, Hispanics, those the buffer class, right? But I'm gonna show you something. This country don't want you to think they need you. Everywhere you look, people need jobs, right? Everybody's hiring, right? Places like McDonald's is giving $5,000 signing bonus. They need black people to come back to work. But this is something that we should be taking advantage of. See, we haven't been as business minded as other groups when they come here. Some people say, well, they do it for protection. So that means we need to be doing something for protection because we ain't protected. So they needing us and they begging us. We have to take advantage of every opportunity there and use it to build ourselves up. I'm not saying get up and go back to work for somebody for 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week, 60 hours a week, if you don't think you're getting what you're worth. But what I'm saying is right now, when they are needing, and they know it's us that they need because we ain't going back to work like that. Ain't nobody going back. But we most definitely ain't going back to those jobs that ain't paying nothing. It's time for us to unite, organize, and strategize, and we take advantage, full advantage of what's going on now to put ourselves into a better position. We have to use what's here, use what you already have to build the things that you need. Then we can get some of the things that we want. We have to take advantage of this whole situation, everything that's going on right now. Now, when Erica Howard put in there say they want her to get that jab, they want everybody to get the jab. If you get it, I won't be mad with you. I'm not getting it. I know people that have taken it. They say it didn't bother them, but I'm not taking it. Why are they trying to force it on you? Why? You get the jab and you still catch COVID. What's the purpose? They handled this whole thing wrong. And the people that are in office right now, they dog Donald Trump because Donald Trump said what they are doing, herd immunity. Herd immunity is everybody go out here and get it, and only the strong will survive. Donald Trump said it. These people ain't saying it, they are doing it. They ain't shutting nothing down. Their economy building up and their money coming back is more important. Damn it, I can't think of this guy's name. Dan Patrick. It was a Dan Patrick, not the one from the sports talk Dan Patrick, but another one. He said, now this is how these people think. He said the elderly have lived a long time. With them doing herd immunity, we shouldn't have to shut nothing down. Every He said the elderly is going to have to sacrifice for the youth. So if the elderly die, that is okay. Our country will continue. Now, if they feel that way about their own elderly, how do you think they feel about you and me? Just think about how that sounds. What's the dude name used to be on TV, Dr. Oz? What he said last year when they wanted people to open the schools back? Well, only 2 to 3% of all students is gonna die. Only they were okay with those 2 to 3% of all students dying. Think about that. That's what we're dealing with. That's the society we're in. These are the people we're asking to be equal to, but we the ones who should be taking power because we know how to treat people. We know how to treat everybody. But we are asking to be equal to these people. So if we get equality with them, are we gonna say if they tell us you're equal, is it okay for our elderly to just die then? Is it okay? Is it okay for 2 to 3% of our students to just die? That's what equal is. Equal is you want to be able to do whatever they're doing. We're in a competition. You don't want to be equal. It's just like a basketball game. Your team, Team A, and Team B, they're not playing to have a tie. Both teams are playing to win, just like a boxing match. You don't want to fight to a draw. You fight to win. Out here in this society, in this race, amongst the races, amongst ethnic groups of people, you have to play to win. I yield the mic.
Yeah. And by the way, if anybody want to call in, the number is 804-601-4015. And yeah, you was y'all talk about herd immunity and all of that stuff. Of course, they want to control the population more so than to kill off the population because they're still going to need their workers and the people, their servants, and all of that kind of stuff. But see, this is the thing we have to realize. We are in a position where we got to start having enough faith in ourselves where right now we can create our own nation. These nations are fighting each other for control, right? America, Europeans, Chinese are fighting each other. But we need to start moving in a way that we are building with our own and stop letting outsiders influence us. And you know, Erica Howard said, that movie shows how they depict themselves. And the other day there was an interview I seen, and the white dude was telling you the truth about how these people act when they start wilding out in public trying to get you. They want you to react so they can be like, look at the big scary Negro, right? So you can play into their quote unquote stereotypes. But that kind of stuff only works if you're actually hold or give them power, let their opinions hold power in your mind. You have to realize that what they say, what they feel, what they think is irrelevant, right? I understand. I want to have a child that looks like me, right? That has my complexion, right? To have a black family, right? But they literally pass laws to make only black women in America, like pre-colonial America, whatever, in the early 1600s, where only black women had to pay taxes, and if you married a black woman, you had to pay higher in taxes. And there's never been the same in this society that we live in. But we don't have enough courage to go on with our own society. Now we have pockets of people doing their own thing. We have groups of people always talking about the problem. And we all could be doing better. And I'm speaking to myself too. I could be doing better myself. And that's the way that they controlled the society. We all have been programmed since we were little children. Now the point is to get our next generation, because things change generationally, right? We look at in the 80s and how things are now, and then look at the social programming that they were running on TV, especially when they was talking about the toxic masculinity, all of this kind of stuff. Now you look at the society, and I mean, let's be real. You have people debating about how it's okay to uh take up for a gay more so than black people. And if you point out something is wrong, they're going to try to label you as this quote unquote homophobic person, right? But they discount the fact that a lot of these slave owners were raping men and boys and were straight faggots, right? But if I say that word, then they're going to try to come after me, right? But I'm not trying to judge any other group. I'm telling you to learn from every other group. Now, the problem is they're saying it's only wrong when you say that you love yourself, that you don't let nobody disrespect you, right? Because for them to say, oh, well, there's no agenda, there's no this and that, when they try to make straight men dress up in dresses against their will, that is some kind of manipulation, some kind of mind game, right? And that is definitely an agenda because masculinity, especially black masculinity, black femininity, all of that is a threat to white supremacy. And when you combine that, then you get destruction. You will destroy the system, and there's nothing anybody can do. That's what we have to realize, right? They can know your plans, they can know your ideas, all of that. When you're on code doing what you have to do, they can't stop you. See, we think we have to trick somebody, we have to lie or whatever. Right. And real life said freedom is at stake for everyone, but this is not about everyone, right? Because everybody is trying to figure out the new world order. We still haven't figured out the last world order, right? We're still trying to get out the last colonization, right? We have to start focusing and responding with that urgency, right? Having love for ourselves. But like, yeah, we I'm not gonna be on too much longer. So yeah, brother Bakar, you can well, you ain't got to worry about it. You can go ahead.
Oh, you about to close out?
Well, nah, I'll let you go one more time, and then I'll go. Then I'll close out.
Hey, when you said that, everybody else figuring out the new world order. You're right, and we still trying to figure out the old world order. We're still trying to figure out the things that need to be done. But most of us know what need to be done. We're trying to figure out things that need to be done, so we don't have confrontation. So we don't have any confrontation. But most of us know once we start to build and do for ourselves, there will be confrontation. You understand what I'm saying? And that's something that we're just going to have to realize. Give me freedom or give me liberty or give me death. Or we must understand freedom ain't free. And I'm not saying someone should have a death wish. What I'm saying is the things that we have to be prepared for so we can be free. You understand? We have to start preparing. Go to some of these stores, food's off the shelf. Watch this. Anybody, talk to anybody, got a team, you got canned goods, you got rice, you got beans, toilet paper, paper towel. Oh, do we have any the stuff that we need for what's coming? That's what I'm talking about. We have to start preparing, and we have to start preparing for we start to have to start preparing, and we have to start preparing together as a unit. As a unit. But we don't want to do that for whatever reason. So then when it comes to time where people need stuff, I'm called a bad person because people didn't want to be in my unit and they didn't want to prepare and save nothing. Now they're mad because I don't give them my stuff. Look at that. Real life is a white boy, white woman, right? Whatever, a white dude. He say where he live, he see think about it. If a white person in their neighborhood seen the grocery stores being empty, shelves empty, what do you think going on in the black neighborhood? Think about that. Think about that. And I'm gonna tell y'all now, and I'm gonna say it again. Somebody who was a friend with me, at least I thought he was, fell out with me. But I'm gonna tell you now, don't go out here and do your saving, and you've been telling people how they need to save. They choose not to save. They choose not to save, but then want your savings. No, that's not how it works. And you're supposed to be in this together. Why don't we have teams? Why aren't we creating teams? Why aren't we saying that we got 10 of us? This is our rendezvous point. Why aren't we doing that? Why people not bringing the things that we need? Water, canned goods, rice, beans, alcohol, peroxide, flashlights, batteries. Why ain't nobody doing that? Why we aren't doing that? Generators. Why? It's time to team up. It's time to team up. I keep telling you, unite, organize, strategize. That's what we're going to have to do. And if we don't do that, we're going to be going through the same thing. Our grandkids, my great grandkids, going to be going through the same thing. When are we going to give our kids, when are we going to give our youth a great example to look at other than a basketball player, other than a football player, other than somebody that can flip in the Olympics? And I'm not knocking nobody. When are we going to start getting, you know what? They taught us how to survive. They taught us all this is against us. They showed us how to stand for ourselves. They showed us how to stand for our people. When are we going to start doing that and stop letting professional athletes be the gold standard when they get their money, or these entertainers? Like the one guy said, when a black man get money, he don't want no black woman. He want a white woman. That's power. I ain't going to say his name, but y'all know who I'm talking about. Oh, can I say his name? Nick Cannon. But those are the type of people we'll listen to. Those are the type of people that we listen to because they're a celebrity, because they got more money than me and you. Or we want to listen to the people that tell you, oh, you ain't no African, you're Aboriginal, indigenous to this land with no proof. But we donate to them and we do everything, and none of those people are thinking about you. And I'm telling you right now, wherever you are, start searching for your team. Start putting you some stuff up. And as you put stuff up, you ask people if they want to be a part of it. If they don't want to be a part, it's okay. When stuff get bad, they call you. Do you have what you got? They have nothing. No, I ain't got. I got, but I don't have it to give. I do trades. I don't give my stuff away. Y'all saw the movie with Denzel when he was playing the blind guy. What's the name of that movie? He was the blind guy.
The Book of Eli.
Yeah, the Book of Eli. Now, I'm not saying it's going to get that bad. I don't think it's ready to get that bad. But just imagine if you're in that situation. But just imagine if you're in a place where the grocery stores around you, each grocery store within 20 miles, in a 20-mile radius, is out of food. What you going to do? What are we going to do? What's our plans? Do we have any plans? Yes or no? Do we have any plans? Sardines, the stuff you don't even like, but it'll keep you alive. Vienna sizes. I ain't got none, but tuna, baked beans in a can, crackers, bags of rice, bags of keep you about 8, 9 cases of water, keep your water filter on your thing. Do we have all that? House full of peroxide, alcohol, bandages. Do we have stuff like that? If we don't, it's time to start getting them. Aspirins, Advils. I get them, Mike.
Yeah, that's definitely spot on, my brother. And like you said a lot of stuff. And one thing you said when you talked about like Nick Cannon, it made me think of, and I don't know if it's true or not, but I just seen it where Carlton, well, not Carlton Brand, you know his real name, but he said that the black community did not accept him for having a white wife, and he was on stage, bragging about having all of these white girls and all of this stuff. Now it's time for us to start laying down the rules and having drawing the line somewhere, right? Because this all of this stuff makes complicated issues. And we have to act like we are literally at a war. And it's time for us to start drawing the line and making the rules, right? And this person said, we all have to fight together, right? But you got to understand, anybody who you thought was your ally has always betrayed you, has always did you dirty, because at the end of the day, every other group is not about right or wrong, fair or unfair, good or bad. They are about winning and losing. They are about being at the top, controlling the food. He who controls the food controls the power, right? So if they can stop you from growing your own food, from having your own stuff, then of course they are going to keep you in the situation that they're in. Now they're going to starve the people. They're going to, you know, make the system however they see fit, right? But we don't have to subscribe to that. The only way that a government can work is if enough people subscribe to that. And when enough people stop subscribing to that, then the government fails. It is gone. You know what I'm saying? Right, exactly, Erica. Nobody, you have no friends. We are all we got, right? We have, how many times do we have to learn this, right? We tried to be friends with the Irish. They was the ones committing the massacres on your town, right? We talked about black and brown. Now you don't really hear nothing about that now that Joe Biden's in office, right? We talked about the Asian community, stop Asian hate. But they ain't gonna include you in the Stop Asian Hate bill. It's time for you to start doing something for yourself. And you also have to look at it like the old saying goes, you can't help the poor people if you wanted them. If you can't help yourself, how you going to help somebody else? It's time for you to create system, create, economies where you have money that show the people that look like you is on the money, right? Controlling the food sources, having people in your areas growing. You can start growing in your own garden right now, and you can go get seeds right now, right? Especially if you have land. And not everybody have land, but our community have no choice but to get back to the co-ops. We have this thing where a lot of us need some kind of leader, somebody to follow, and we need somebody to look up to. And that's what I'm trying to say, that there is no one leader. The leader is the Black Messiah. It takes a group effort. Not one person can do everything. Not one person can do a lot of things. It takes one person staying in their lane, working with other people in that lane, and then combining all of the lanes together. But all of that will stop when you start realizing that you have no choice and you are all you got. And this system does not even recognize you as a person, because they still have to pass a voters' right act every 25 years for you. So why would they have to do that if you are a citizen? And if you were to put half of the energy trying to get back into the get your own, right? Because that's what I think, when Thurgood Marshall was going through those court rulings, right? And if somebody say, you're prejudiced, going to your own, tell them, see Plessy versus Ferguson, separate but quote unquote separate but equal, right? Now, it was all good to be separate, but when you start having more, when you start doing your thing, that's when they come looking for you. That's when that jealous nature, that's when that superiority complex comes knocking. See, you just can't sleep on your enemy and or underestimate your enemy. They've been able to control society for hundreds of years, right? You can't sleep on that. You have to respect your enemy to the point where you are able to defend yourself and you do not take them lightly, and to the point where you will not let somebody violate you, right? Violate your boundaries. Um and like my brother was saying, you have to start being prepared, because when everything hits, you know who is going to come from first, right? And that really shows the character of who you are. In a time of need, people really supposed to come together, but people are going to fight each other over whatever it is. And the person, because we are getting lost in the society as if it's something different, as if it's not actual life, right? The truth is, like in the jungle, the person that's in charge makes all of the rules. And the moment that you say, I'm going to make my own rules and I'm going to stand on that, then you will be in charge. But my brother Bakari, I'll let you close out and take as long as you want, my brother.
Yeah, it ain't gonna be long. Look, man, I thank you for inviting me here. I appreciate the chat. Look at the old real life didn't even to get on your nerve today. But I thank everybody for listening, Erica, Raw, real life. And whoever I didn't mention, blame it on my brain, not my heart. But we in serious times right now. I know we went off a little bit. We veered off from the topic a little bit about inferiority complex, and we went on into being prepared. But we are in serious times right now. And I guess that inferiority complex and being prepared can kind of go together because inferiority complex will keep you from being prepared, hoping someone else is taking care of you. But it's time for us to take care of ourselves. And I say it again, if you don't have nobody in your town, in your city, in your area, your community, your block, make sure you have what you need. It's better to have it and not need it and not have it. It's better to have it and not need it and not have it and can't get it. We've been through this. Didn't we go through this rodeo last year? Where people didn't have groceries, people didn't have toilet paper, people didn't have paper towel. Didn't we go through this rodeo last year? I know we went through this rodeo last year. Y'all didn't start preparing after last year? Y'all didn't start preparing after last year? Y'all, or did we start preparing as soon as things got better? Making sure we have, stop taking for granted that the water gonna be on the shelf. Stop taking for granted that your water filter gonna be on the shelf in the time of need. Stop taking for granted all that food you need to survive, survival foods. It's gonna be on the shelf. Make like you're in Florida and you got to keep your emergency pack for hurricanes. But your emergency pack is for this pandemic. That's what we have to do. That's what we are now. Make sure you're training. Make sure we getting in shape. Make sure you have some type of weapon, knives, taser, preferably guns, and make sure we're training and learn how to use them, and make sure we're thinking and know when to use them to protect ourselves. That's what they're for. But we're gonna have to be ready for everything. And once again, Brother Forecast, I thank you for inviting me on your panel. I thank you once again the chat for listening. If you hadn't heard of me before this show, you've heard of me now. It's Brother Bakari. Tell your friend you subscribe to my channel. Hit the notification bell. Then tell your friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend that all of them go tell their friends. Then all of them subscribe and hit the notification bell. Come to the forecast. Come to my channel. Peace. One love.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on, my brother Bakari. And yeah, we definitely have to get prepared and all of the things that we're talking about. But the truth is, we should have been doing this 200 years ago, right? We are 200 years in the making with this conversation. We are in a position where, right? And somebody asked me before, like, how are you not scared to say the things that you're saying? Well, I'm more afraid not to do something than to do something, because if you haven't noticed, we are in a terrible situation and a corporation designed to run off of our bloodshed, right? What else do we have to lose? They have literally taken your language, they have taken your culture, they have taken your religion, they have taken your gods, they have taken your family, they have taken everything that you have written down, right? What more do you have to lose? See, these are psychopaths who have no problem destroying cultures, coming in to destroy whatever they want to, right? So yeah, definitely. But at the end of the day, we have to start having the mentality like we have nothing to lose, because they can come in and violate our children, our babies. They are feeding us poisons, right? When they were feeding us the leftovers of a pig, that should have been enough for us. When they was coming into our homes, raping our mothers and grandmothers, that should have been enough for us. It shouldn't take a pandemic and, 500-600 years later, because we have been in a pandemic. We aren't responding with the same urgency that they are. We are not in the same position that other groups are. We have to realize that this is a state of war that we are in, and these people will do whatever to control populations. And who would ever give up power and control if they didn't have to? Right? So don't ever be afraid, number one, to say that you're afraid, but to be able to face your fears, right? To understand that you have to be prepared and grow your own, because why would you trust them to give you food anyway when all of the stuff that they put in the food, they poison their own people? What do you think they'll do to you? Right? It shouldn't take all of this stuff for us to be prepared, right? Because we've been talking about this, we need our own for hundreds of years. But it's time for us to start doing it. But yo, I appreciate everybody. I appreciate you, my brother Bakari, Erica, my sister Raw, um, everybody else listening and watching. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate y'all. I wanted to come on and holler at y'all. I'm gonna try to be back on real soon. So as always, man, we have got to start standing for something, or we're gonna keep falling for anything.